everybody, and welcome. I'm your instructor, John Pomeroy, and in this lesson, we're going to learn how to design human cartoon characters. We're going to take everything that we've learned about human anatomy and forms and apply that to designing some fun characters, fun human characters for cartooning. And we'll explore all different shapes and sizes, styles and designs, and it will inform you when you get started in designing your own characters. So let's get started. I think what you have to do when you first start exploring character design is you have to identify who and what the character is. I mean, you could start just with some basic shapes, but I think what's important is ask yourself, what is the dominant characteristic of this character? What's the dominant feeling? Is this character a hero? Is this character a princess? Is this character a villain? Or is it an innocent character? What is the main trait that this character can be identified with? It could be a very goofy character too. So what I'm starting to draw here is I'm going to do a character that is innocent. A sweet, innocent little boy character. Doing a roundish head. There's the median line. I'm going to do the eye line dipping down because he's kind of shy. Swept up, large, cute eyes. Everything I want in this character needs to radiate that dominant trait, that characteristic, that he is a sweet, innocent little boy. Large irises and pupils, maybe even a couple of eyelashes. Eyebrows bowed upwards. Big, nice lock of hair that kind of falls forward into his face. I'm going to keep the hair soft. Large, round head. Little hair sticking up at the back. I will give him like some little coverall shorts and a little t-shirt that he wears. The legs of the shorts right there. Little buttons. And the shoulder is up against his face, kind of in a shy attitude. I'll make the sleeves of his t-shirt short, maybe even with stripes. So the character is starting to come together. Tapering tubes for the legs. I'm going to taper them out so they get wider at the bottom. Maybe he's got some socks and he's wearing like little tennis shoes. So this character is now starting to take shape. And there's our little innocent boy. Slight indication of a neck. I'll maybe break up this hair just a little bit, keeping it soft. So, and once again, getting involved in not just the design of the character, but the pose. I have a curve going out this way for the head. I have a curve going out this way for the body, the torso, and a curve going this way for the legs. This makes a nice design as opposed to straight up and down or maybe swinging just forward. Trying to complement this pose and design with different lines and arcs that complement each other. So when you're designing a character, trying to use any number of shapes. So we can have a square shape that we can use. We have a triangle. We have a circle. We have a kidney bean. Use that a lot of times for the body. That's what we used here. We can use a rectangle. And we can use a wedge shape drawing it dimensionally, it would look like this. So we're talking about basically a square or rectangle that's been pinched slightly. So it tapers a little bit. So designing forms and characters can be any combination of these shapes. If you take the circle and you just make it a little thinner at the bottom, you have an oval. That's a great shape to start out with the female head. Triangular shapes are fun for a goofy character with bulgy eyes. That's a good place to start with a goofy character. The square shape or the rectangular shape is a good area to do a strong or heroic pose, like a superhero. Kidney bean shape, that could be any kind of like a cute character, and also a body for a character. So there's all kinds of different forms and combinations that you can look forward to. And just building from the ground up. And once again, start out with identifying what that character trait is. Say if this is a mean character, he's kind of a brute. So we would start out with a massive frame, massive torso from a wedge shape that's kind of hunched over. I'll shade it in a little bit. So I've got a block shape that I've tapered in a little bit, and I'm bending him over. Attach the head right there at the corner of that block, and using big, thick tube shapes for arms. And then this wedge shape would taper and terminate into two legs and small wedged feet. Have blocks for fists. And so we have the basis here for a character that could be, a real mean villain. Let's continue building him using that wedge shape. Legs, tubular arms. So we're going from this to this. There's the head. I'm going to extend the head and attach a jawline to it. I'm going to keep his head bald with a few stubbles for hair. The eye line is up here. I'll keep the eye line on the top half of this head shape. Little beady eyes. Have a blocked nose. Now noses, we could do a turned up nose. We can do a hook nose. Any kind of nose you want. I'm going to use this type of nose because I want the emphasis to be on his jaw. Cheek line or cheek bones, very prominent. I'm going to give him some wrinkles over his eyebrows. We could even make the eyebrows heavier and thicker if we wanted to. And I'm going to extend lines from the nostrils of his nose all the way down. Thick corners and the mouth turned down. Lips kind of folded in. I'll even give him a slight 2-day beard. Neckline. And this character could be wearing a jacket. I'll indicate a jacket, collar, lapels. He would have a large belly, Put a button on his jacket. Big shoulders. And the sleeves of the jacket could be real simple. I mean, if you want to, you can put an indication of a fold to indicate that it is material. And then the fists made out of 2 blocks. And then the lower part with his legs, cuffs on his pants, and then feet. The feet can be extremely simple. They're kind of on the small side. There's the sleeve on the other side. We've got an indication of material. And there's his fist. So we got this really mean, pugnacious character that we've designed from a wedge, tubes, a ball, and tubular bent shapes for the legs. So there's another type of character. Let's try a character that's a little on the thin side. I have an idea for kind of a studious, smart, science type of character. I was just thinking the skull, normally I would use a block, but for this character, I think I'm going to say he's got almost like a teardrop head that is leaning in one direction, like that. Long neck, slender body, almost tubular-like, very long, skinny feet. Maybe he's wearing a lab smock. He's got a tie. There's the sleeve. He's holding some charts in his hand. Got pens in his pocket. So I've started everything. It's almost like a giant bullet shape in a way, the way this body has formed. I'm doing kind of angular hands. So I'm doing a hand that isn't necessarily anatomically structured like our hands that we've studied for realistic hands, but this hand might be simply shapes that suggest fingers. So it gets into graphic design almost. So try different combinations. The head on this character, I'm going to make a very pointed chin. I'm going to make a sloped nose, confident smile. I'm going to do large glasses. I'm going to do a hairline that goes way back to kind of complement this type of head design. And then I'll have it come forward with some hair out front. I want to do something that would really complement the shape, this triangular shape of the head. And then eyes looking over to the side. And then his pants, very tubular, very straight, little ankles. And I would do very pointed, we're getting into a very design graphic look for this character. So I would do something, let's see, like a wingtip pattern on his shoe, heels, and leave it at that. So there's a character, a thin character in his lab coat, kind of a scientist doctor type of character. Let's do one of an elderly person, an elderly woman. We'll take the wedge shape, or no, we'll take a rectangular shape or a block shape and bend it over. Shade it in a little bit. So we've taken that, a rectangular or block shape, and we've bent it over. Attach a circle to it for the head, and then two tubular arms, tubular shapes for the arm, one going in back of her and one coming up forward. And it would be almost if this person were supporting it themselves with a cane. Tubular shapes on either side of the bottom of that block shape for the legs, and then wedge shape, small little wedge shapes for the feet. So we have a basis now for an elderly character, and we can start building the head. I would have another circle back here for maybe the bun of the hair that's been brought back. Hairdo with a part in the center with hair on either side. There's the median line, there's the eye line. I would do little eyes together, kindly eyes close together. Little eyebrows at the top. Squarish little glasses, spectacles. Cute little nose. And then cheeks. Cheek lines hanging down from either side. And a little smile. There's her chin. So this is a elderly woman. She's wearing maybe a sweater. A couple of buttons there. We see a waistline way down here and maybe her bust line down here. This can be a dress that's hanging that with a scalloped edges. As the scallops come close or go away from us, they'll be closer together, and then as they come around to give depth, they get wider and wider to suggest this dress scallop pattern going all the way around. Pattern, as it goes away from the eye, should get closer together, and as it comes towards you, it gets wider and wider and wider to give you the illusion of depth. Some wrinkles there. Wrinkle here. I'm going to place her hand on her hip as if she's having a hard time trying to walk. And then her legs, we will do little shoes for her. And she looks like someone's grandmother. The sweater on the other side, her shoulder, the cuff of her sweater, and her hand on her cane. And there we have a little elderly character. Let's try something with a little energy to it, a female character. Let's try someone like a dancer or a ballerina character. This character, we would start with a maybe an hourglass shape. Remember, that was one of when we were talking about cartoon characters, that was one of the different combinations was hourglass for the female form. We'll do a leg coming down, a leg going out in a ballet pose. She will be facing in this direction. Nice oval for the head, long neck, to a hairdo that is gathered on the top. One arm placed up high, one coming off to the side. So she's doing kind of a lift off. We'll have an idea for her her dress that she's wearing, her ballet gown, and a wide bellowing ballerina skirt with ruffles. And we will do, let's see, a arm in a classic ballet pose with her finger out. Your shoulder. I'll lift her head up just a little bit to give her a little bit more dynamic. Here's her nose. Eye is closed. Cheek. Forehead. Here's her hair pulled back. We'll see her ear. And we see her smiling. Shoulder, there's the arm. See, drawing the human form has really come in handy because some of these difficult areas to draw just happen to fall in place when you have the knowledge and you've been drawing it over and over again. There's her hand down like that. Her thigh, let's see, coming up from her hip area all the way down, curves into the knee. And then we curve in to give it some strength and dynamic, and then curve out again for her toe, where she is making contact with the ground or the floor. And then this leg coming out also, the foot at a slight angle. And there we have our ballerina character. I'm going to give her a little pixie dust, make it kind of magical. And hopefully that will give you plenty of good ideas on designing human cartoon characters. This was a great class, and I hope you learned a great deal about designing human characters. Whatever type of character it may be, a brute villain or a little baby or a princess. I hope this lesson informed you and gave you a lot of good tools to use on trying to design characters. Your assignment, I would love for you to design some characters and explore all different types. Challenge yourself, do difficult designs as well as easy ones. Do simplify, high design, graphic shapes. Use all of these elements to do some unique characters. And unique is the key word, because when you're designing a character, you do it with the idea that it stands out alone, that is different than any other character you've ever seen. So I encourage you to really stretch yourself and challenge yourself to do a unique character design. It's been great teaching you, and I hope you have enjoyed these lessons. And I think that you're going to be a better artist for it. Thank you so much for watching my lessons. Bye-bye.